Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the PEX News Channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for fact-based analysis and sharp coverage of today's biggest global stories. Today, we're diving into a major story making headlines around the world. President Donald Trump has openly expressed frustration with Russian President Vladimir Putin, and he did it on an international stage during a joint news conference with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. This marks a significant shift in tone from the Alaska meeting just a month ago, when Trump described his face-to-face with Putin as constructive. Now, things sound very different. Let's break it all down. So here's the context. Trump and Putin met in Alaska, in what was billed as an important opportunity to cool tensions and explore possible steps toward de-escalating the war in Ukraine. At that time, Trump came away suggesting there was room for progress, hinting that Putin might be open to compromises. But since that meeting, Russia has escalated its military actions, stepping up missile and drone attacks, and even sending drones into NATO territory, a direct provocation that has alarmed Western defense officials. Standing next to Prime Minister Keir Starmer in London, Trump didn't hold back. He told reporters that Putin had, quote, let him down. He said, quote, President Putin had the chance to reduce tensions and take real steps toward peace. Instead, he chose escalation. That's not what I was promised, and frankly, I'm disappointed. Those are strong words, especially from a president who has at times tried to keep open channels with Moscow. Now, Prime Minister Starmer also used the press conference to underscore the urgency of the situation. He said that the West has to put what he called extra pressure on Putin. According to Starmer, history shows that Putin only shifts his behavior when he's under real pressure from the U.S. and its allies. In other words, both leaders are pointing to the same problem: Putin is escalating. But the solutions they're hinting at sound a little different. Let's talk about Trump's position. He has threatened new sanctions against Russia, but here's the catch. He hasn't gone through with them yet. Trump said the United States will only act if NATO countries agree to stop buying oil from Russia. His logic is that America alone can't carry the burden of sanctions, and if Europe continues importing Russian energy, then sanctions from Washington won't have the desired impact. This reflects a theme Trump has emphasized many times before: burden sharing. He believes NATO countries need to step up and take equal responsibility, not rely on the U.S. to lead every effort. But that stance is controversial. Critics argue that by delaying sanctions, Trump is giving Putin more time and space to consolidate his military position. Some analysts say that Moscow will see hesitation not as strategy, but as weakness. Dr. Helen Crawford, a political analyst at the London School of Economics, explained it this way. Trump's frustration with Putin is genuine, but his sanctions strategy risks undermining the very unity he's calling for. By tying U.S. action to NATO's energy choices, he shifts responsibility onto European allies rather than leading with decisive measures. This raises a bigger question. Will NATO unity hold, or will the alliance get caught between competing strategies? European nations are in a tough spot. Cutting off Russian oil would be a major blow to their economies. Energy costs are already high, inflation is putting pressure on households, and governments across Europe are struggling with domestic pushback. Yet continuing to buy Russian energy also means funding the very war machine NATO is trying to stop. It's a delicate balance, and Trump's comments shine a spotlight on just how complicated this decision is for America's allies. Now let's bring this closer to home. Communities here in the U.S. with strong Ukrainian ties have been watching these developments closely. Many Ukrainian Americans say they're not surprised by Putin's escalations, and they're calling for more immediate and direct action. Mark Petrov, a community organizer with families still living in Ukraine, put it simply: Putin doesn't respond to words, only action. If President Trump is finally realizing that, it's a step forward. But sanctions need to happen now, not later. On the other hand, local business owners are worried about the ripple effects of new sanctions. If NATO moves away from Russian oil, energy prices will almost certainly spike again. For small businesses that rely on fuel, like trucking companies or delivery services, those price increases could be devastating. Rachel Kim, who owns a small transport company, told us, "I support standing with Ukraine. But every time there's talk of sanctions, fuel prices go up. For businesses like mine, it's hard to survive when policy decisions overseas hit us directly at the pump." And that right there illustrates the dual challenge leaders face, balancing international security with domestic stability. For Trump, the decision is not just about punishing Putin. It's about managing America's relationships with NATO and protecting U.S. economic interests. For Starmer, the message is more straightforward. Act now, act decisively, and don't let hesitation give Moscow an advantage. Looking ahead, the next few weeks will be critical. Will Trump follow through on sanctions, or will he continue to hold out until NATO makes bigger moves on energy? Will European nations take the economic hit in order to pressure Moscow, or will domestic concerns keep them hesitant? One thing is clear, the rift between promises and actions is widening, and Putin is watching every move closely. So what does this all mean for you, the viewer? It means the war in Ukraine isn't just a distant conflict. It's shaping global politics, it's influencing energy markets, and it's affecting your daily life, from the price you pay at the gas station to the stability of international alliances that keep the peace. And that's where we'll leave it for today. Trump's frustration with Putin is real, Starmer's call for action is urgent, and the world is waiting to see what comes next. So what's your take? Drop a comment below.